Welcome to SVG-TV News for Wednesday, March 26, 2025. I am Rochelle Batiste with the details. To safeguard the future, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, along with other countries in the OECS, have been encouraged to build resilience not only to the climate crisis but also to economic challenges. Central to this is diversification. This advice was shared by the Director General of the OECS, Dr. Didicus Jules, during his address at the opening of the fourth meeting of the OECS Economic Affairs Council on Tuesday at the Holiday Inn Express in Diamond. The two-day meeting was expected to provide vital updates on the implementation of the Economic Union while advancing discussions to propel significant economic initiatives.
Article 4 of the RTB outlines this imperative, and today its relevance is even sharper. Our dependence on a narrow range of economic activities, particularly tourism, has rendered us vulnerable, as the COVID-19 pandemic starkly revealed. The OECS Development Strategy Action Framework responds with a blueprint for diversification across 10 high-potential sectors, including renewable energy, digital transformation, blue economy, and technology. Food security is a cornerstone of economic independence. The OECS Food and Agriculture Systems Transformation FAST strategy is a bold step towards regional food sovereignty, reducing our dependence on imported staples and building resilient agriculture value chains. In the energy sector, the OECS Sustainable Energy Greenprint 2035 charts a clear path towards clean, reliable, and affordable power. By targeting a minimum of 20% renewable energy installed capacity in each member and associate state by 2030, we not only reduce import dependence, but fortify our economic security. The Greenprint promotes integrated planning across states, aligning national strategies with regional goals and unlocking funding through partnerships.
Dr. Jules also pointed out that our vulnerability to climate change is not theoretical. It is a lived and brutally experienced reality that we must prepare for. Just
last year, Hurricane Beryl left Union Island with over 90% of its housing stock destroyed. The devastation extended to Carriacou, Petit Martinique, Canawan, and Mero is an unrelenting reminder that natural disasters do not observe national boundaries. Article 24 of the RTB acknowledges the urgency of environmental sustainability, but acknowledgement must translate to action. Investing in climate-resilient infrastructure is no longer optional, it is existential. Such investment has the dual benefit of mitigating risk and catalyzing new industries in resilient housing, climate, sustainable agriculture, and green transport. In this context, the Development Bank for Resilience Prosperity represents a transformative financing instrument, and it's represented here by Jean Leon. One designed not only to address existing gaps in multilateral finance, but to reposition the region in global conversations around ecological justice and sustainable development. We welcome Dr. Leo to our sessions this week and look forward to deeper collaboration.
Highlighting that economic integration remains the most powerful tool for transformation in the OECS region, Dr. Jules emphasized that the full integration of the OECS economies offers economies of scale, increasing trade flows and ensuring more efficient resource allocation.
All of which can raise GDP per capita and elevate our global competitiveness. A critical milestone in this journey, therefore, is the establishment of a customs union with free circulation of goods. Progress has been made, but significant work remains. We must move with greater urgency to operationalize the legal, institutional, and logistical mechanisms necessary to make this a lived reality for our citizens and businesses. Encouragingly, we have seen significant advances in the free movement of people within protocol member states. Indefinite stay upon entry, acceptance of national IDs for intra-OECS travel, and the removal of work permit requirements are powerful testaments to what is possible when political will aligns with regional purpose. And in the modern global economy, technology is not a luxury, it is an equalizer. For the OECS, digital transformation is a strategic enabler of inclusion, productivity, and global integration. Article 25 of the RTB recognizes the role of telecoms and IT, and we must now accelerate action. The OECS digital learning ecosystem is a promising initiative targeting digital literacy, innovation, and workforce preparedness. It represents our commitment to equip our citizens, young and old, with the skills to thrive in a tech-driven future. Artificial intelligence, digital services, and e-commerce are not just tools, they are engines of growth, and we must fully harness their potential. Colleagues, the global environment is undeniably volatile. Yet in the face of turbulence, unity is our greatest asset.
According to Dr. Jules, the OECS's collective strength lies not in numbers, but in solidarity, coordination, and a shared voice on the international stage. He stressed the importance of remaining proactive, unapologetically strategic, and leveraging every opportunity, mitigating every risk, and forging new partnerships that align with our developmental aspirations. And pointing out that 10 years ago, all the countries in the world agreed to the Sustainable Development Goals. Minister of Finance, Economic Planning and Information Technology, Camilo Gonzalez, who assumed the chairmanship of the OECS Economic Affairs Council, noted in his address at the opening ceremony that 10 years after the global adoption of these goals, there is a growing backlash against globalization, immigration, and collective climate action in many developed countries. He stated that this shift has produced a new breed of policymakers willing to ignore both the letter and the spirit of numerous trade, human rights, and climate treaties.
Make no mistake, small island developing states were frustrated with the contradictions, inequities, and inconsistencies of the archaic global systems that were not sufficiently sensitive to our unique challenges and vulnerabilities. We chafed under the manacles of rules that were not made by us, yet employed disproportionately against us. We chased moving goalposts and contorted ourselves to avoid increasingly arbitrary blacklists, gray lists, and watch lists. But through it all, we recognized the value of rules and the value of global cooperation. Small island states, and especially the smallest island states like ours, do not exist as sovereign countries in the world today because we have weapons or wealth that make us untouchable or indispensable. We exist because global rules and norms protect our existence. We exist, we are counted, and we are heard because international law says we must be.
Minister Gonzalez further told the regional meeting that as small island developing states and small vulnerable economies, the question must be asked, how do we respond to these emerging threats in the interest of our citizens, pointing to the urgent need to accelerate the free movement of people in the region.
So, when leaders of developed countries seek to harken back to the 1930s, we pay attention because no OECS country existed as an independent state in the 1930s. When leaders seek to abandon the artifice of neocolonialism and embrace instead the barefaced colonialism of old, we pay attention because we have felt and known the exploitation, underdevelopment, and dehumanization of colonialism. And when someone, with the stroke of a pen, can make our imports prohibitively expensive and our exports fatally uncompetitive, we pay attention because our growth and development aspirations hang in the balance. As small island developing states and small vulnerable economies, we must ask ourselves, how do we respond to these new and emerging threats? How must we balance creative resistance, accommodation, and resilience building as we implement the fresh approaches necessary to ensure that our people enjoy prosperity and opportunity going forward? It is a fact that one of our greatest vulnerabilities is the small size of our individual countries. It follows, therefore, that the best way to reduce this vulnerability is to become larger. And the only way that tiny individual islands can become larger is to accelerate the speed, scope, and depth of our regional integration.
Minister Gonzalez emphasized that integration has always been our shield against external shocks, and this is needed now more than ever. He expressed the view that integration is the OECS strongest response in light of the global shifts. In other local news now, we hear that almost 9 months after Hurricane Beryl caused significant destruction on Union Island, electricity restoration to its power lines has now been completed. According to Prime Minister Dr. Ralph Gonsalves, he made the announcement today during his weekly appearance on NBC Radio. The completion of the restoration means that residents on the island can now access electricity in their homes.
Yesterday, the head of VINLEC, the chief executive officer of VINLEC, Vaughan Lewis, called to inform me that the transmission and distribution network in Union Island is completed, which is good news. In other words, everything is there now available for any house or building, business which wants electricity connection. Of course, they have things to do in rebuilding the station itself. They're operating with temporary facilities out of containers, but I'm talking about the generators. So they have everything in hand. So that is fantastic.
While electricity has been restored, many homes on Union Island are still not fully repaired or rebuilt. One of the requirements for restoring electricity to homes is that they must pass an inspection. The island was severely affected on July 1st, 2024, leaving residents without power for several weeks. And Prime Minister Gonsalves announced today that the pause on U.S. foreign aid will not impact the warehouse construction project in the Southern Grenadines. He made a statement during today's radio interview explaining that the green light for building warehouses on Canoan and Mairo has already been assured by U.S. authorities. The Prime Minister further noted that he will be traveling to the two islands tomorrow to conduct additional assessments.
I had a conversation on Thursday with one official from the United States Naval Facilities Engineering Systems Command Southeast for the potential construction of sites in Canoan and on Mairo on each island a disaster relief warehouse. I'm pleased to say that these have not been affected by any cuts to U.S. aid. There are two sites which have been identified by person in disaster management, but I have to have them confirmed as being available by the chief surveyor.
The Prime Minister said he will be visiting the Southern Grenadines tomorrow for an assessment in collaboration with the surveyor. He had previously expressed concern about the project after President Donald Trump's announcement regarding the pause on U.S. foreign aid. And Prime Minister Gonsalves will be traveling to Romania earlier next week. The trip forms part of a strategic engagement with leaders of the European Union, with Romania being one of the key countries involved. During the visit, he will meet with the Prime Minister, Marcel Ciolacu, highlighting the historical relations between the two countries, which are expected to be further strengthened.
I'll be going to London, just overnighting in London, going and do the visit in Romania and come back. I've seen the Prime Minister. You know, I have a couple of students in Romania. Well, we in the Caribbean community, we have not sufficiently engaged Eastern European countries which are in the European Union. And we have to engage them, to persuade them about things relating to us, which should get some priority inside the European Union. Some of the Western countries which have historical, Western European countries which have historical relations through colonialism, whether in the Caribbean or elsewhere. We have, well, Britain when it was in the European Union, but the same thing applies there. And France and Spain and Portugal and Germany in the case of, say, some African countries.
A highlight of the visit will be the signing of a cooperation agreement on disaster preparedness and management.
A general cooperation agreement, which would cover a wide range of things, and a specific one in relation to helping with disaster preparedness and management. Naturally, education is going to be central in the general discussions, and we have to look for markets there too. We have to look for investors there too. Eastern Europe and Romania has been advancing.
We hear that the Ministry of Education and National Reconciliation says it has become aware of a video circulating on social media and is deeply concerned about incidents of bullying occurring in educational institutions in the country, pointing out that it firmly believes every student has the right to a safe and supportive learning environment free from harassment and intimidation. The ministry states that bullying in any form, whether physical, verbal, or cyber, will not be tolerated. The ministry further emphasizes its commitment to implementing and reinforcing robust anti-bullying policies and procedures across all schools. This includes providing comprehensive training for educators, fostering open communication with students and parents, and promoting a culture of respect and empathy. Recognizing the importance of addressing the root causes of bullying, the ministry says it will collaborate with relevant stakeholders to provide the necessary support and intervention. Additionally, it will continue to strengthen its psychosocial support mechanisms by providing schools counselors at schools and offering wider services through the Student Support Services Unit. The ministry urges all members of the community to join in efforts to eradicate bullying and create a positive and inclusive educational experience for all students. And with the inaugural National Robotics Competition taking place here tomorrow, Thursday, March 27th, Science Education Officer Juanita Hunt King sees it as a significant boost to the subject in schools. In an interview earlier this week with SVG-TV News ahead of the competition, the education officer noted that while science subject results at CXC are performing well, more could be done to encourage students to enter the science stream.
Well, we've been having some really good results with the sciences in the schools. We recognize that, there's always room for improvement. And just like what Mr. Gum said, where we can offer that support through, new means to students who need that remediation, that approach, then, the ministry is willing to take on, projects like these that would help students to grow. We recognize that a lot of our students, they need that hands-on, and they need that something different that makes them think differently and process their information in such a way that they can put it into a product like this competition is allowing them to do. So the ministry is always looking for avenues and ways that we can support students and inspire them and to get them motivated to do even better, give even better results, and I think that this is a good thing for us.
The education officer is encouraging the more than 140 students participating in the competition tomorrow not to take it too seriously, emphasizing the importance of enjoying the experience.
Just have fun. We think about learning as something that has, to be so rigid, and they think learning has to be this boring thing, but no, here's an opportunity for you to just have some fun and learn at the same time. And for me, that is such a good thing for students, because a lot of them they need that experience to know that science is fun, technology is fun, learning is fun,
Meanwhile, CEO of the National Science for Technology and Innovation, Petrus Combs, anticipates a tight competition tomorrow, but assures that it will also be fun.
we want to invite, because it's the first time and it's virtual, meaning that there are persons you're not going to see a physical robot on the ground. We're not there yet because that one is very costly. So they will be seeing on the computers on display a virtual replica of those physical robots that students will be working with. So between the time of 9 and 11, we want to invite business houses and individuals around Kingston to come and see what the kids are doing. Because the first time programming has been taken on this level. It's the first time you're going to actually see what makes something works, what made technology works. Most of the time we see the technology but not what make it works. And you're going to see students working on these codes, which is a language like French, Spanish, that make these